What is already presented here, back with another Honkai Star Rail guide, and as we do see, the Planar Fissure event is almost out on NA and it is already out on Asia and Europe servers. By the time you are seeing this, there is about 2 hours until this does go live on NA, and as I mentioned, for Asia and Europe servers, this is already out. So in this video, I'm going to be going over every single world and talking about each ornament, and talking about whether you should be farming that specific world and how you should go about to do this in order to optimally farm and make use of this event to its fullest. Double drops is big pog, but that also means double the garbage. But yep, that's about it. Anyway, before I get into the video, if you guys found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, dropping a like would be greatly appreciated. Be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all other types of Star Rail content. Check the description to join the Discord, and also check out the new channel I made for Arknights. And yep, let's get into it. So taking a look at the first option with the first world, and that is 2 of the OG sets that we did have that was probably the most farmed back then, being Space Sealing Station and Fleet of the Ageless. So I will say now, Space Sealing Station is an option you practically never will use. The only reason you will ever see it being used is if someone is farming for the new set that it might be good for a character, such as a DPS. You might be farming for Glamoth, so you put space on them until you get a better one. Same thing with one of the follow-up sets, and so on. Space Sealing Station is never one you go out your way to really get, because it's just a 24% up to attack increase, which is nice, but there is a lot better ornaments now. So for DPSs, this is the reason you practically never will use this. But when it does come to Fleet of the Ageless, this is still a go-to set. Overall, it is seeming less usage now since we have stuff like Lushaka, but it's still a really good set as it gives you 12% max HP for survivability on the wearer. And on top of that, when you do have 120 speed or higher, you give everyone 8% attack. So you usually will put this on your supports, and it will be best in something like a dot team where the attack is going to be the main benefit, or on someone like Robin where her buff scales on her actual attack. So putting it on her will give everyone attack and also increase her buff, so that's why Aegis is the best option on that. Overall, still a really powerful set, but I do not recommend farming this world as it's only good for 1, which again, there's usually better options than Ageless in general. But once again, the reason I don't really recommend it is since you're practically just getting 1 as opposed to 2, since Space Sealing Station, once again, as I mentioned, is only a set that longer players would have. So if you've been playing from 1.0 and above, or at least before the time when we got super good sets, you probably have a bunch of these from the beginning of the game, and that's the only times you'd use this while you do farm for the set that's going to be better for the character you are farming for. That's why with this, you're practically only looking for 1 ornament drop as opposed to 2, and since you can get up to 2, the Space Sealing Station pieces you get are mostly going to be useless, since you practically always want to replace it anyways. So I recommend choosing a different world and just using the relic remains and creating the Aegis pieces you need for trying for that. Taking a look at the next world, so the sets are Talia and Vonwacq. So I recommend this world if you do have break characters and also characters that would benefit from something like Vonwacq, such as setups with Ruan Mei where Vonwacq and Havoc are go first is good, having Vonwacq on someone like Jiaoqiu, and just anyone that would benefit from the immediate setup, and also having break characters that can benefit from this. So Boot Hill especially, as this is best for Boot Hill, giving you the 16% break effect, and 145 speed or higher gives you an additional 20%, giving you a total of 36% break effect. This is once again best on Boot Hill, or is also going to be best on Fugue if you are taking her on a non-Firefly team or a battle that is not weak to fire overall. Then this would be something really good for Fugue, or someone like Jiaoqiu as well. If you have those characters, then this is going to make this set worth it. And as I mentioned, for characters that can benefit from Vonwacq, giving you 5% energy regeneration rate, which is going to be great for your supports. And with 120 speed or higher, you start the battle with an action forward by 40%, which practically always lets you have the first turn, letting that character set up immediately. So characters like Jiaoqiu benefits from this a lot. Certain setups with Ruan Mei, certain setups with certain supporters also benefit from it a lot. If you have characters that would benefit from that, such as the options that I did list, then this also becomes worth it, making this one overall a lower priority since there's less characters that can use this as opposed to some others, but still a decent option you can choose. So if you fall under those, then this would be good, but if you only have one or the other, then similar to the first world, I do not recommend doing this if you are in that case. For the next world is we do have the Pan Cosmic set and also have the Celestial set. I do not recommend this world whatsoever, since the Pan Cosmic set can be good for some effect hit rate characters such as Black Swan, Welt, Glenifin, and so on. The effect hit rate increase and an attack increase by an amount equal to the effect hit rate up to 25%. That can be good for, once again, the effect hit rate characters, but Celestial is such a garbage ornament that any piece you do get, you'll never use on anyone and you will throw it away immediately. This is such a bad set that no one will use, since there's always a set that is very, very easily outperforming the set in almost every way. So overall, you would practically throw away every piece for that, and Pan Cosmic doesn't have that many characters that can use this overall. So if you have some characters that want this set, I'd recommend choosing a different world and similar to Aegis, just making it with the Relic Remains since you want to avoid getting the set entirely. I do not recommend doing this world. For the next world, we have the Belobog set and Inert Salsotto. Overall, I no longer recommend doing this set either, since Belobog is only really good on Japard or the Fire MC. The defense increase is nice, and once you have 50% or higher effect hit rate, then you get an extra 15%. While it is good, this is still just not really used on many characters besides those two. If they're your two mains, then you could slightly consider it. And before, I would previously recommend this if you were in the case where you need to get it for Japard or Fire MC, since Inert Salsotto is still to this day a really good set. 8% increase in crit rate. When you have 50% or higher crit rate, you get a damage out increase to ultimate and follow-up attack by 15%. Yes, that is still good, but most characters that use Inert Salsotto now have the new Duran set, which outperforms this set. So in most cases, for the none, you would usually farm the Duran set over doing Salsotto specifically. There are a few cases where Salsotto might be better, such as a team where a follow-up character is used, but follow-ups are slow, such as Himiko, where Inert Salsotto would pull ahead since you don't have to stack it up. But those cases are definitely on the lower side. That's why it doesn't become too much of a priority. And so overall, I'd recommend not farming this world either. When it comes to the next world, so we have Rutilant Arena and Broken Keel. Rutilant Arena, if you do have the characters that would benefit off this, which there's not too many, there's pretty much just Danheng and Jinglu and also Blade, which those characters are getting pushed out, so less and less people are going to be using them. But if you do still main them, because they still can perform, especially when it comes to Jinglu and Danheng, this set is still going to be their best, as it does give you 8% crit rate, and when you have 70% or higher crit rate, you get a damage dealt to basic attack and skill by 20%. Still a good ornament overall, but as I mentioned, characters are using this less and less, and the characters that do use it are getting pushed out. But when it comes to the next set, Broken Keel is a very commonly used set to this day. 10% effect res, and once you have 30% or higher effect res, you give everyone 10% crit damage. Still a fantastic set, just like Broken Keel, and this one is used a little more in my opinion. So this is such a worth set to farm. The only issue is with Rutilant Arena getting pushed out. A few months ago, I had a 100% farming this world since it was so good, because Rutilant Arena was still really powerful, as Danheng and Jinglu were still running rampant. But now that's not really the case too much. That's why I recommend this world a little less. So if you do still use characters like Jinglu, Blade, Danheng, then I could actually recommend farming this Rutilant Arena, and you would also benefit from Broken Keel for your supports. Then in that case, I would recommend it. Otherwise, I would not. When it comes to the next one, so Glamoth is still really good for anyone that could practically hit 135 speed. At 135 speed, it's already going to be really good for a lot of characters. And if you are able to push to the 160 speed, then this usually becomes the best for that character. So overall, Glamoth is still really good to this day. And then the next set, Penacony, is a bit more on the niche side now, since you don't really use the same type together. But in cases you can, then this becomes so good, because you get the 5% energy regeneration rate and also increased attack for other allies that are the same type as the wearer. Commonly was used in Mono Quantum, but can still be used on cases of something like putting it on Robin, pairing her with Yunli, putting it on Bronya, pairing her with Feixiao or Blade, and so on. So those cases, it could still be powerful, and since you can stack it, it becomes that much better as well in certain cases. So if you are in a case where you use characters that can hit the speed thresholds of 135 and 160, especially 160, and use Glamoth to benefit from it a lot, such as fast characters like Kafka and especially Zele, then this is a pretty worth set. And when it comes to Penacony, if you are using the same type as wearer supports, so if you are still using those same type teams, then it becomes good. But overall, since it's becoming more niche, I recommend shying away from this unless you do use it. Then it can be one, but for the most part, I would still avoid doing this, because with Glamoth, you could probably just make the pieces, but with Penacony, again, it's being used a bit less since it's a little more niche. But if you do use cases where Penacony works and you also have characters that can use Glamoth, then it is a good option. And for the next world, we have the Sigonia set and also the Izumo set. Overall, this world, I would personally also not recommend too much, since this is mainly a set you only use in Pure Fiction, and while yes, it is the best in Pure Fiction, it's really not worth farming a entirely new set for just to use on characters in Pure Fiction where you just switch it out, since you get the biggest buff on a relic set when it comes to damage with the crit damage buff and also the crit rate buff. It's really good when you are able to stack it up to full, but once again, it's mainly only used in Pure Fiction, and honestly, other options you use on the characters that you're going to be using in Pure Fiction perform pretty good already, so you don't really have a need to switch it. And when it comes to the Izumo set, this set isn't really used too much except Acheron's teams, but Acheron also has some other options that Salsotto pieces like you might have laying around, and she's practically the only character that actively uses it. The only other cases is something like pairing Topaz with Feixiao, which with them you for the most part will rock Duran anyways, which again 12% attack is nice and the crit rate increase is nice, but it's mainly crit rate cope. If you're someone that mains the team of Acheron and on the other side you might use Topaz with Feixiao and your pieces for Duran are not that good, or maybe you still use Ratio Topaz and so on, then this can become a worth set. But overall, I'd recommend also just using the salvage pieces and just making this, since this set, while it is good, it is still really just not worth to go out your way to farm. So overall, I do not recommend this world either. Eternal Comedy. So this one is one I recommend pretty wholeheartedly depending on your situation. Unfortunately, this set is niche to pretty much just Firefly and Himiko. Forge set is good when it comes to those two, 6% speed and 40% break effect when attacking enemies with fire weakness. You can also do a thing where if an enemy just has fire weakness, you can put this on your break character because it will do better if you want to switch all those times, which most people won't want to do. But a lot of people have Firefly, a lot of people also use Himiko, so this becomes good. And when it comes to most, again, emphasis on most follow-up characters, Duran, when you are able to stack Duran, is the best for a follow-up character. Topaz, Ratio, Sub-DPS Aventurine, Yunli, Clara, so on. Characters that can stack up this set or be on teams that can stack it up. When you have it at full stacks, it easily pulls ahead out of any set for them, since their main reliance will be on the follow-up attack and also get the 25% overall crit damage increase, making this set really good. So if you are someone that has follow-up characters and also has someone that can benefit from Forge, so Himiko or Firefly, then this could become a really good value, but I'd only recommend doing it if you at least have a few selections. So if you have characters like Feixiao, Topaz, Clara, and so on just laying around, then this can be better to get better pieces for this. And if you're also someone that has Firefly or you use Himiko, then getting Forge pieces could be good. In that case, I'd recommend this. Otherwise, I'd probably recommend just using salvages for one or the other. And then the last one, so Lushaka and the BananAmusement set. So this is probably one of my most recommended ones, just because Lushaka is such a good set for your support characters, giving you the energy regeneration rate. And on top of that, when you give this to the person, and if they're not positioned first in the team lineup, the character that is first in the lineup get a 12% attack increase. So anyone that does have the benefit of being a DPS that scales off attack, this is going to benefit from them a lot. And on top of that, the attack can also stack, so you can put this on multiple people, helping the wearer with the energy regeneration rate. It's just such a good set to pair up with your DPSs. So putting this on someone like Sunday is really good, Bronya, Sparkle, putting it on Robin, so on. It's just a really good set with anyone that is a attack scaling character. And if you're interested in the sub and meta right now, the best thing we see in sight, so best for Jing1 and probably going to be best for Aglia as well. The BananAmusement is such a fantastic set for the summon characters, as it does give you a 16% increase in crit damage, and when a target is summoned by the wearer is on the field, crit damage additionally increases by 32%. Fantastic for Jing1 as he does summon Lightning Lord. Can also be used on some characters like Crit Lingsha, can also be used on Topaz, but Duran is still better, and is going to be best in soft for Aglia, when she does come out, at least until there's a specific relic set that does tailor towards the whole memo sprite thing. But until then, this is gonna be the best. So if you're interested in getting pieces for your Jing1, maybe a Crit Lingsha, or you're gonna get someone like Aglia and you maybe even want to have future pieces for future summon characters, then getting these and having the pieces laying around is gonna be really good. And on top of that, Lushaka is gonna be good when you're pairing a support with a DPS that is gonna benefit from attack. Practically anyone in that case, this will become a good set. Overall, probably the most world I'd recommend. And that is a video. So again, most part is just finding the one that has two sets that's going to benefit you a ton. Lushaka, and this is going to be great for anyone that's summoning on a summon character, and then anyone that has supports with the DPS that benefits from the attack. Overall, really good. Same with the Duran. If you have Firefly or Himiko, which a lot of people will be using, then overall this becomes good, especially if you have follow-up characters as well. Rutilant Arena and Broken Keel can be good in a lot of cases. Same with the Talia and the Vonwacq set. Overall, just finding the one that does have two really important pieces for you is going to be the way to go. But yeah, once again, hope you guys found the video helpful. If you did, be sure to drop a like if you haven't done so already. Also, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this. And yep, peace out.